Audrey, you want Audrey? Audrey, did you want to say something about Super Supper? Arthur asked me to print this up for you. Okay, so attention, everybody. I'm getting their attention. I'm getting their attention for you. So, Super Supper is coming up, and Audrey has a pitch to make, and it's an important one. Or yell real loud.
Nobody can hear you, Audrey. Use a mic.
Good evening, everyone. I want to invite all of you to what's going to be our magnificent Super Supper for Charity on Friday, December 13th from 6 to 8. There'll be all kinds of soups and other food, and most of all, friendly people, a nice community, sense of community. And we have a suggested donation, and I have the feeling this year we're going to need quite a lot of social justice activity, so we want to raise some money. If any of you would like to contribute soup or other food, talk to me after. That'll be it.
Okay, and don't forget that's also our annual Hanukkah party. It's a little bit earlier this year because Hanukkah is super late. Does anybody know when it starts? Yeah, I don't think I've. Right, the night of the other holiday. Correct. All right, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. Anne Marie told me to put my sweater on because the coat wasn't fitting me so good, so that's why I'm a little informal here. I'm not getting a new one for a while, so. My sweater is fine. My coat's a little big, and I'm not getting it taken in every week. Yes, thank you, thank you.
Look at that svelte rabbi. Isn't that great?
Working on it. All right. So our readers tonight are Greg Campo, Nancy Simpson, Dan Schechter, Gail Whitty, and Jean Clarich. And in just a moment, we will begin with our candle lighting, and I will call up our candle lighters. But we will turn first to our very first slide. Arthur's not here tonight, so Anne Marie is on slide duty. She doesn't get fanfare? All the things she does, she doesn't get a little fanfare for the slides? So we'll begin on the next slide, Anne Marie, if you would. There you go. Where the world is dark with illness, let us spark the light of healing. Where the world is bleak with suffering, let us spark the light of caring. Where the world is dimmed by lies, let us spark the light of truth. May the honor of lighting our Shabbat candles inspire us to acts of goodness that illumine all the world. May the mitzvah of lighting these Shabbat candles remind us to sanctify life with the power of light. I'd like to invite up Mary Monahan, who's accompanied by her niece, Kayla O'Donnell, to light our Shabbat candles.
Baruch Haor Ba'olam. Baruch Haor Ba'adam. Baruch Haor Ba'shalom. Ba'shalom. Baruch Haor. Baruch Haor B'Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. We come together this Shabbat, each bringing with us a private world of hopes, of fears, of dreams. Some of us are burdened by anxieties and cares that all but crush our hope in the future. Others have hearts filled with happiness, grateful for the joy of the past week, yet aware that even the most fortunate are vulnerable before the mystery of tomorrow. Every life is a unique blending of joy and sorrow, of fulfillment and frustration. Beneath our uniqueness, we are all bound together by our common humanity. All of us deeply yearn to know true freedom and peace. Each of us seeks the personal liberation of a mind that is not enslaved to conventional wisdom, a heart that is able to love without fear, a spirit that cries yes to our potential. Each of us strives for the inner peace that comes with finding a harmony between our aspirations and our abilities. This is the Shabbat peace to which we aspire.
Lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, la Shabbat. Lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, la Shabbat. Naria, naria, la yom simchatenu, nikadma b'shalom. Naria, naria, la yom simchatenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, la Shabbat. Lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, la Shabbat. Naria, naria, la yom simchatenu, nikadma b'shalom. Naria, naria, la yom simchatenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, la Shabbat. Lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, lachuna ranana, la Shabbat.
Shalom. Shabbat shalom. I'm willing my voice to work here. The transforming power of love, the redeeming power of compassion, the healing power of forgiveness, these endure in every age. The joy which comes from sharing, the strength which comes from striving, the nourishment which comes from nature, these endure in every age. The sanctity of life, the value of truth, the primacy of justice, these endure in every age. Amidst never-ending change, may we have the wisdom to know and to cherish those teachings which endure for all time.
Usvatecha midaber mirma, sur merava seto, bakesh shalom verot vehu. Netzor lachon chamera, usvatecha midaber mirma, sur merava seto, Shalom, Lerod Ve'u. Bi Aish חפץ חיים, אוהב ימים, אוהב ימים, לראות טוב. מי האיש החפץ חיים, אוהב ימים, אוהב ימים, לראות טוב.
Shabbat Shalom. We say what we believe what we say. As humanistic Jews, we do not plead for supernatural intervention to bring healing to those who are ill or injured. We seek to be present for them in the hope that this will contribute to their recovery. We do not ask that our dead find protection under divine wings of mercy. We acknowledge that the dead are gone and that caring for the survivors is what now matters. We not look to the heavens to send us peace. We recognize that as an exclusively human responsibility. We use our communal rituals and celebrations to empower ourselves. By gathering to affirm what we believe about the nature of reality and the responsibilities of humanity, we are strengthened. For the humanistic Jewish believer, this is the essence of what some call the religious experience. Surrounded by a like-minded community, we are liberated to say what we really believe. Then, strengthened by each other, we can better manifest our beliefs in the world each and every day.
Chikvati, chikvati mi, efo kochi, kochi bi, vegam bat, efo kochi, kochi bi, vegam bat, where is my light? My light is in me. Where is my hope? My hope is in me. Where is my strength? My strength is in me and in you, and in you. Where is my strength? My strength is in me and in you, and in you.
Shall we ask, by what commandments should we live? Or might we better ask each of ourselves, what kind of person should I be? The first question assumes that there is one right answer. The second assumes that there are many right answers. If we seek to answer the second question, we are answered in yet other questions.
What should you do
When you see another suffering or in need, afraid or hungry? What causes are worthy? What world do you dream of?
play safely in the street?
There are many such questions, some already their own answer, some unanswerable. But when all the answers to all the questions are summed together, the answers come to this.
Love well, seek the good in all things, harm no others, think for yourself, take responsibility, respect nature, do your utmost, be informed, be kind, be courageous, at least sincerely try.
Add to these 10 injunctions this: let us always be true to ourselves and to the best in things, so that we can always be true to one another.
There's a place with answers we are seeking. There's a place to find our light of hope. Where's the strength to realize our vision? Yesh makom b'tochenu, yesh makom b'tochenu. Look within yourself, you'll find it there. There's a place with wisdom that can guide us. There's a place where we know what's right or wrong. Where's the path to peace that we all long for? Yesh makom b'tochenu, yesh makom b'tochenu. Look within yourself, you'll find it there.
In the pursuit of a just world, may we hold fast to the ideals that give life its deepest meaning. Among these are the courage to hope, even when hope is scarce, to dream of peace, even when surrounded by uncertainty. Though the path to peace may be long, let us never lose sight of it. May we remember that peace is not only the absence of struggle, but the fullness of life that blossoms from justice, security, and compassion. Wherever there are struggles to achieve such a peace, let wisdom always guide actions. May we be vessels of peace, always carrying it in our hearts and minds, even when we seek to protect what we hold dear. May the world we leave behind be one that reflects our highest ideals: freedom, understanding, and enduring harmony among all people.
Naaseh shalom, shalom ba'olam. Naaseh shalom aleinu ve'akol ha'olam ve'imru shalom. Naaseh shalom aleinu ve'akol shalom. Naaseh shalom, shalom ba'olam. Naaseh shalom aleinu ve'akol ha'olam ve'imru shalom.
In this community where we find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts toward all those who need our love and support. Those who are ill, those who suffer pain of the body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. Tonight we extend our well wishes to these members of our community and to their loved ones, to Carolyn Lowe, Marina Rinsky-Fostovsky, Jim Walker, and Suzanne Paul. And if there's someone whom you're thinking about, we'll go around the room. Please feel free to share their names. Anybody? Thank you. Nancy? Anybody else on this side over here? Fran? Anybody else? May all who suffer know that oh, I'm sorry, Joseph.
My brother Christopher Palazzolo.
Do we miss anyone else? May those who suffer know that they are not alone, that we are there. May they be healed quickly. May they experience a complete recovery, a refuah shlema, the renewal of their bodies and the renewal of their spirits. Today is the 405th day of the hostages in Gaza. At dark times in Jewish history, there were moments such as this one during Jewish services when prayers were offered for those who were held hostage. The redemption of captives, what we called Pidyon Shvuyim, was considered an essential mitzvah. Sadly, we once again find ourselves in this reality, and so it is in the spirit of our ancestors who lived through those terrible days that we voice these fervent hopes. May those who have been taken captive find the courage to carry on. May those who love them not despair of their return. May they soon emerge from their confinement whole in body and in spirit, to once again know the embrace of loved ones.
מקום הכוח בתוכנו, מקורות הברכה מעברותינו. May the source of strength that dwells so deep within us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say Shalom. Mekom hakoach betochenu, mekorot habracha mevrotenu. May those in need of healing know refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Shalom.
Death cannot take that which is locked in our hearts. With our tears and our sorrow, we remember. With our courage and our strength, we do not forget. Acts of kindness, deeds of courage will remain. Beauty created, wisdom shared is not lost. With our tears, in our sorrow, we remember. With our tears, in our sorrow, we do remember. Our thoughts now turn to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every people and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We recall our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. As tonight we observe the yard sites of these members of our community and their loved ones, of Carol Arnold, Thomas Jacoby, Julius Kingston, John Kurland, Regina Pius, Jeanette Ross, Isaac Rinsky, and Ida Smokler. And if there's someone whom you're thinking about and would like to share, please feel free at this time. Anyone in the room? David? Did we miss anybody at all? We say, Yehi zichram livracha, may their memories be a blessing, by which we hope, and it doesn't always give us comfort, but it's a hope, that at the times when we most need them, they will come back to us in memory, and we'll share, at least in our hearts, those moments again. If you can do so comfortably, please rise as together we recite our humanistic interpretation of Kaddish. Nitgadal v'nitkadash beruach ha'adam. Let us dignify and ennoble all people in the spirit of our shared humanity. Let us acclaim the preciousness of life. Let us show gratitude for life by approaching it with reverence. Let us embrace the whole world, even as we wrestle with its parts. Let us, each in our own way, take up our share in serving the world and seeking truth. May our commitment to life help us to strengthen healing of spirit and peace of mind. May justice and peace permeate and comfort the house of Israel and all those who dwell on earth. And let us say, Ken Yehi, may it be so. Please be seated. So, I did not write an introduction tonight because I feel like at this point I know Mike well enough that I don't need to write an introduction. You don't remember the first time we met, Mike, but I do. I was here, I don't know, it was probably for maybe my first Wednesday here, and I think Socrates was happening. In those days, they used to have speakers come, right? And somebody said to me, I want you to go meet Dr. Detroit. And I said, okay. Didn't know what that meant. And it turns out you were not a DJ, as I originally had assumed. You guys get that, right? But you were Mike Whitty, and the title Dr. Detroit really fit you. Mike is a futurist, which means he has the guts to look into the future and see better times ahead, which we can't all do, and we rely upon people like him to help us do it. He is an optimist, which is probably one of the rarest things in the world today. He is, I'm happy to say, my friend. He's an inspiration to all humanists, a true lover of humanity in all of its guises. And sometimes I know that it doesn't always feel good to acknowledge that, but we all are people, and we all suffer and go through the same thing. And when he offered, because I would be out of town this past week, and was, when he offered to take this Shabbat, to speak to you all, I said, well, you know, you'll be planning it before, and who knows, and some people will be upset, other, I'm sure, maybe not so many in our congregation, but some, I do know, will be happier about the results, and we're going to have to treat everybody like the human beings that we are, and here we are, and I know that Mike is going to do that, because he always does. Please join me in welcoming our friend, our congregant, Mike Whitty. Go for it. Make us feel better.
Help me with the mic so I can speak. Everybody speaks so softly.
I think it's actually working pretty good.
Is this mic good if I speak right on top of it? Okay. Well, Shabbat Shalom. This summer I saw a new documentary, Join or Die. The film highlights the urgency for more involvement with community. It focuses on the work of Robert Putnam, the political science professor, now retired at Harvard. Most well-known book, Bowling Alone, The Collapse and Revival of American Community. And more recently, Upswing. He presents years of data from around the world focusing on memberships in organizations. And the subtitle is How America Came Together a Century Ago and How We Can Do It Again. It's so timely for this moment, and I'm happy to stand firmly as an optimist and a hopeful person about the future. I expect a happy ending for all of us, the grandparents and the parents, so the kids and grandkids can live with liberty and freedom, and the human race can have at least a cultural truce and a live and let live world, if not unity and diversity. And the concern for community and unity and diversity led Putnam to write about restoring community in proper balance with individualism, macro community with humanism, and micro individualism for self-expression. So we have to balance that out. We've got way too much fragmentation and hyper-individualism run amok, you might say, and we don't have enough community. So for me, his conclusion is that social capitalism, defined as networks, norms, and social trust that help society function, is seriously in decline. Pretty obvious to us. And as a result, not just organizations are suffering, like the Department of Justice or the Department of Defense or the Supreme Court, but we are unhealthy as well. And that's why they picked the provocative title, Join or Die. People who feel lonely, depressed, isolated are more likely to get sick and die prematurely from virtually all causes when compared to those who have strong feelings of love, connection, and community. High-quality connections predict cognitive functioning, emotional resilience, and satisfaction, the lifeblood of health and happiness. On other hand, loneliness is as deadly as obesity or smoking. This issue is prominent in our news today. The New York Times Magazine had a leading story, "Why is loneliness so hard to cure?" And then there was several other stories I want to share, and it adds to the timeliness of tonight's talk. The Times on Tuesday's front page had this story, how the tech that connects us has set the stage for isolation. Technology and loneliness are interlinked, the article says, stoked by the ways we interact with social media, text messaging, and binge watching. Dozens of studies found that one-on-one digital communications, including messaging, phone calls, video calls, were associated with more positive mental health effects, including decreased feelings of loneliness. But an over-reliance on text messaging, which superseded phone calls as the most used communication methods on phones many years ago, could contribute to loneliness if people weren't genuinely connecting with one another. And one titled, "Home is where Americans have been spending more time," with phone, tablet, and TV screens capturing our time and attention. And in Wednesday's food section, of all places, a new campaign against loneliness starts with potluck dinner, according to Surgeon General Murthy. A few weeks ago, loneliness was the cover story of the Times Magazine. Atlantic Magazine article this week shows how the design of modern homes, emphasizing big great rooms with a combined kitchen and living room, make sit-down eating in a dining room difficult for a group of people. So we're really kind of under the assault of technology that's created more distance and less companionship, less conversation, eye to eye, voice to voice. And just a phone call, when you can hear the tone of voice of a dear friend, is different than getting a text. So let me go back to the film. The clever graphics by Putnam and his team have been the topic of decades, beginning as a young graduate student researching social connections in Italy. Prominent people are interviewed, including U.S. Surgeon General Murthy, Pete Buttigieg, Hillary Clinton, in addition to Putnam and his team. The movie also showcases 6 successful civic engagement projects, including one in Michigan. As soon as I finished watching the film, I thought the members of the congregation would be interested in knowing about it. It's on Netflix. At best, what we can do is an antidote to disengagement. We come together on Friday services celebrating Jewish holidays, and through the organizations that are based here, the Social Justice Committee, the Dinner Club, the Men's Club, and I've got a couple members of the Men's Club. Can I ask you to stand? I mean, we need more members of the Men's Club. We've got a lot of work as men to do to get over some of our machoism and some of our attitudes. And that's still our work as elders, to be sure our kids and grandkids are more balanced, full human beings. So at best, we have right here at Temple many groups, Mahjong, yoga classes, the rabbis' classes, the daytimers. I think there's a Canesta group, and God knows there might even be a Socrates group wandering around with Zoom. So all the work that you can do to build humanistic Judaism and a happy future can start right here at Temple by adding one additional activity to what you regularly already do in your routines with the temple. You come on Friday night, you're pretty good about that, thank the Lord, and so here we go. We need to add one more activity at the temple, and you can enrich what the temple can bring to you, your life, to the rest of your life, so that you can be a prophet in your own time and be an elder to your kids and grandkids, and they'll talk about your legacy at your funeral. Proudly, and they'll say, wow, what a set of parents I had. So I think that's really practical. This is a practical message that we can actually implement in a modest way for ourselves. High social capital tends to make us healthier, wealthier, and have a more successful governance of consensus building. On the other hand, a lack of social capital results in disengagement, lower voting turnout, fewer acts of charity, poorer health outcomes, and a weakening of democracy, and a rise of individualism that makes it hard to solve collective issues. Lord in heaven, this week has brought that home to all of us. Putnam uses a metaphor in the title Bowling Alone. It stemmed from a complaint aired by an owner he knew of a bowling alley that business was dramatically down because of the reduction in weekly leagues. The image of a solitary bowler stands in contrast to the image of group play that characterized bowling leagues in past decades. Beyond bowling, group activity has decreased across the board. Examples are membership in school PTAs, houses of worship. Membership is lower. Where are our teenagers tonight? I don't see too many teenagers out there. So social and service groups like Rotary, Kiwanis, Oddfellows have diminished in their size and in their reach. Join or Die, the movie, effectively dramatized this shift by using historical references to show how collective action once defined American life, from town hall direct democracy meetings we read about in history classes, and some still exist, to grassroots movements, communal activities, playing a central role in shaping democracy. Putnam's research highlights the decline of these activities and has serious consequences. Here are some trends that have contributed to the decline and include the following according to the movie. Television, technology, dare I mention the word AI, social media. Look how many Napoleons are in charge of our world. When I grew up, it was just a news and free press and 3 channels. Now, there's thousands of Napoleons from every country in the world. Iran is busy with us. Russia, China, North Korea, they step right into our media and pretend to be Americans. And many of us gullibly think that's just coming from the other side or whatever. So we do have a problem with technology. The rise of television, the internet, and other technologies have played a major role in replacing face-to-face interactions with more passive forms of entertainment. And they encourage us to stay home with our big captivating screens. Many homes have screens throughout the house, meaning we are not even watching as a family, a shift from active social participation to solitary screen time. And everyone in this room, as well as those watching via Zoom tonight from wherever, know there are benefits and disadvantages being able to participate remotely. We thank COVID for everyone knowing about Zoom, but it has not reduced in-person, but it has it not reduced our in-person gatherings? We can discuss what is lost, if anything, from having services that are half the size they used to be, but people from all over the world are able to watch us. Now that's technology as a trend that's taking us away from each other. A personal touch, the human touch. Suburbanization. As Americans have increasingly moved to suburban areas, communities have become more dispersed, less dense, making it harder for people to form strong interconnected bonds. The physical separation of people, often in car-dependent suburbs, sometimes makes it more difficult for social interactions to occur naturally. I have dear friends in Livonia. They can't bear driving to Birmingham. That's a 45-minute drive. And we are headed out to Jim Jacobs and some wonderful Grosse Pointe people. But that's a 45-minute trip from Birmingham. And we hesitate to get to the Cadjo Cafe as much as we'd like to because it's so far away. So you have your limits on how far you want to drive, especially at night. We've got real problems there with suburbanization. It just makes it more difficult for social interaction to occur naturally. And then generational shifts in the culture of individualism for the younger generations in particular have shown lower levels of participation in traditional civic activities such as voting. What about that turnout? How, when you're 10 million short or 20 million short on turnout, and you had $1 billion or $100 billion to spend, something slipped there. But it's broader than $100 billion can fix. It's broader than partisanship or an election. And attending public meetings, joining organizations, joining a temple, being a teenager at the temple, wow, that would be a big deal. That person should get a plaque or some kind of award. So just about every peace, political, and community organization I belong to that still meets in person predominantly has an audience of gray hair. You know, I'm headed to Peace Action Sunday, and it's our generation, if you will. They're great folks. I'm glad to be with them, but we sure need to get a more intergenerational world to make everybody happy and have a successful future. So it's a call to action by Putnam to revive social capital. Putnam's core message is that while the decline of social capital is serious, it's not irreversible. In the final sections of the film, we see examples of communities and individuals who are working to rebuild social capital. These examples offer hope. The rabbi's doing that with Joseph, and Fran has been working for years in scholarship, in publication, in public talks. There are a lot of people right in this room who have great backgrounds, great biographies. Just spend the rest of your life building your life legacy for the sake of the kids and the grandkids. And that's what the elders of the past used to do, sitting around the campfire in a circle. We've had the role of the elders, and prophets in their own time are overdue to restore community. So one powerful way is through acts of service, whether it's volunteering, participating in local government, or simply engaging with neighbors. We've been lucky. Our immediate neighbors have called us to go out to dinner on a regular basis. And how many have neighbors that are calling you to go out to dinner? Do we know that people 5 houses down? I don't think so. So we've lost that old neighborhood summer barbecue spirit, with a few exceptions. New forms of community, traditional forms of social capital, bowling leagues, religious groups, PTAs may have declined. New forms of community engagement are emerging. Online communities, though sometimes criticized for being virtual, can foster communications and collective actions across geography. We're not saying that we have to reject in a rigid way technology, but we just have to be more thoughtful about it and more balanced. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Get up off your computer and walk outside 1 block and walk 1 block back, so you can keep your skeleton moving, so you can keep yourself from bending over and creeping along with a humpback. You know, we need to get up off of the sitting we do in every way, and stand and walk and get diet, exercise, and right attitude organized in our lives more deeply. Education and awareness, raising awareness about the importance of social capital and the consequences of decline can be a critical step toward revitalizing it. Schools, local organizations, and governments can all play a role in educating us about the value of community involvement. Now that can be very basic. It's just being friendly with your neighbors, reaching out, inviting them over for dinner, or going out to a restaurant you both enjoy nearby. There are plenty of ways to be friendly, and unpack your friendliness. Friendliness will go a long way. Join or Die serves as a stark reminder of the fragile nature of social capital and the importance of rebuilding it. Vibrant democracy is directly tied to the strength of social bonds. While we cannot return to the past, we can create a future where communities are more connected, more engaged, more resilient in the face of challenges. Putnam's work urges us to think critically about how we can strengthen the ties, whether through participation in traditional civic activities or embracing new forms of community engagement. For us, let's build more community at Temple by joining an additional Temple group. I'm proud to be an active member of our monthly men's group. and all of our modest efforts will help humanistic futurists offer a better future for the generations to come. So let's spend the rest of our lives building this legacy. I look forward to our discussions at the Oneg Shabbat. I think about outreach to close neighbors and to old friends and to a commitment to humanism as our life philosophy. And by the way, Join or Die is not only available on Netflix, in case I've whetted your appetite for an interest in seeing it. We might even be able to show it at Temple at some future point. One more thing. David Brooks is going to be in Ann Arbor next week, the columnist from the Times, a conservative Republican who I've come to admire. He's my favorite columnist in the Times. Yes, David Brooks, hosted by a Jewish organization, will be Zoomed to all who'd like to hear him but can't make it to Ann Arbor. He recently wrote a column. I want to read a few sentences from it and to mention one more book that's at the heart of this message, On Belonging, Finding Connection in an Age of Isolation. Now, writers can do that, artists can do that, athletes can do that. Families generally do a pretty good job at that too. Neighbors, neighborhoods, communities, and humanism is a wonderful futuristic philosophy because we need to call it truce in the cultural war, where we accept a live and let live attitude. I'll respect your lifestyle, you respect my lifestyle. Let's be a little gentler and kinder with each other, more forgiving, more open-hearted, more loving. And so I just brought these two books. I'd love to share the subtitle there, Connection, Not Isolation, and the book that most recently published by Putnam, How America Came Together a Century Ago and How We Can Do It Again. He talked about the reduction of that gilded age of social Darwinism to Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, and the progressive era, and then the FDR and the New Deal. And, you know, here is just a few thoughts from David Brooks. All history is a history of longing. Other movements that produced rebirth would be the cultural shift from cutthroat social Darwinist philosophy replaced by a social gospel movement which emphasized communal solidarity. And then came Roosevelt and the unions demanding fair wages and 8-hour day. And before that was Theodore Roosevelt. But it all grew out of a cultural and civic change that was already underway. The pattern was cultural change first, then civic revival, then political reform. And today we face another great civilizational question. How can we create a morally cohesive, politically functional democracy amid radical pluralism and diversity? Now, we've done it here. We've done it at the temple with Sherwin Wine and the good Rabbi Jeff. We already are living it out together, so it's doable. And we're the proof that it's doable. That's very important. And where's the set of values that will motivate people to put down their phones and dedicate their lives to changing the world? Didn't Moses do that? I think he did. So I would like to commission you all to be in this, reincarnate as Moses if necessary. But we need to save the world, for sure. And humanism is a fine philosophic framework to give higher visibility to treating each other with a little more kindness, a little more forgiveness, a little more compassion, and look for your common ground and underreact to the occasional slights and misspoken words of people that slightly offend you. You can underreact and save yourself a little bit of stress. And remember, this is a nation of perennial rebirth and regeneration. For a whole society to change, the people in the society have to want to change themselves. So try to change your mind. Try to change your mind even in the midst of this wave of pessimism, change your mind to hope, optimism, and love. Wouldn't that be nice to hand down to the kids and grandkids? That would give them a sense of being in a space for creativity and service. Have peace of mind, inner calm, outer calm, help build a humanistic future solution to our problems. Love yourself, love life, reject bullying, anger, name-calling, and hate, and look to hope, optimism, and love. And I leave you on that spirit. That's it. Love is the answer. Thank you very much. I kept to optimism.
Optimism.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so next week I'm going to be speaking. Hello there, Mike. We're getting the situation worked out at some point soon. Next week I'm going to be speaking about the very famous dictum or aphorism by Rabbi Hillel. We sing it all the time. Im ein ani li mili. What's it mean? I'm kidding. I didn't expect you to translate it. It means, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? So we're going to break that down. We're going to look at how Jewish history looks at it. We're going to look at the balance between taking care of our own needs and the rest of the world, and hopefully get some insights into what's going on just in the Jewish world right now, if nothing else. So I hope you'll join me for that next week, and then we will be taking off a week so that you can get stuffed on turkey and football or whatever it is that you do, and we'll resume after that. All right, thanks everybody for joining us. Don't forget about the Super Supper Hanukkah extravaganza on December 13th, and here is our closing song.
May we know peace as we go on our way. May we be guided by love. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Shalom. 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 May this be our blessing. Shalom. 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 May this be our blessing. Shalom. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we abide in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to everyone. May this be our blessing. Shalom. 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 May this be our blessing. Shalom. 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 May this be our blessing. Shalom.
Once again, thanks to Joseph, to David who does the streaming, to Anne-Marie for standing up and saying, yeah, keep clapping because this is for yourselves. Do Shabbat Shalom, everybody. See you next week.